Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted to have a discussion about why the Spring Maiden Raven could have continued to be a neutral force in Ozpin and Salem's war, and if they continued to keep her as a neutral force against both sides, and what could have come out of this if Raven continued to stay as a neutral force. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So I think one of the biggest disappointments in Volume 5, and which there were many, but I think one of the biggest things that could have held a lot of promise for the future if done right and had potential was Raven having her own side in this war. Rather than being on Ozpin or Salem's side, just being on her own, I think would have really been great for her character, and I think it was a good idea, but I don't think that it was done very well. And while I think that this wasn't done very well, I could see potential in the idea of Raven if she had still chose to stay as a neutral force. And seeing what happened with Volume 5 at the very end, after the credits, which nobody's forgotten that one, which they never even talked about with Tai Yang and Raven at the very end, whenever she just kind of swoops in there through the portal, and then we don't know what happens next. Yeah, we all remember that. Even Pepperidge Farm remembers. But if this had been written well, then this could have been excellent for Raven's character, and it could have been excellent for even future arcs within the series. And by also having her be neutral to the war, this could also really bring more to the table for her character. And over time, they would be able to go more into her backstory as well as that of Team Stark, dissecting her character more as well as others, and helping us learn more about their characters. But let's look at each side of the war that is going on, the good and the bad. If you look at it, Salem is seen as the big bad guy. She is the overall villain, of course, with her side. That is how she is seen. She's seen as the big bad monster that everybody fears, that is immortal, that is trying to collect the relics. And everybody's opposing her, but they also think this is a war that can't be won because Salem is immortal, but yet we still, to this very point in time, do not know what her motives exactly are. And then there's Ozpin and his forces, which Ozpin, just like Salem, is also trying to collect the relics. His was to, obviously, have the gods return so they can judge humanity, whether they should still exist or not, and then see if they can live with humanity once again as they did before. And there's that, but Ozpin at the same time doesn't have a plan for beating Salem. It's just up in the air, and he just thinks that maybe there's a way to stop her, and that's about it. But if you had Raven, for example, Raven could be the neutral force in all of this, because she could be the one that could expose Ozpin for his lies. She could have been the one to even tell the truth about Ozpin that she knew by experience, gradually over time leading up to what Ozpin had done, as well as she could be the one who could also say that she doesn't agree with Salem either, because maybe she'd seen by experience some things that she just didn't agree with Salem or Salem's mentality. But with Raven also being another force, she could be a thorn in their side, and at the same time, this could have a conflict between Crow and Raven, because in Volume 3, Crow had stated that they didn't view the world in the same way, that they had their own different personal aspects of how they see the world. Seeing a conflict between Crow and Raven, their beliefs being challenged by one another, not only that, but seeing what started the conflict between the two of them. Of course, there's an issue between the Bronwyn tribe, but there could have been more from there. It could have been something else that could have stemmed from this. And I would have really loved to see the conflict between the two of them. And as to why Raven would have wanted her brother to be dead, I think that that could have been interesting. Seeing them actually fight, not just get pushed off screen, I think would have been very excellent. I would have very well enjoyed seeing an actual fight between the two of them. But with the conflict, as I stated, between the two of them, this could go into a backstory between Crow and Raven. This could teach us of their upbringing, their childhood, and why they view the world the way they do. Seeing how Crow changed from having the same mentality Raven did as children, about how they wanted to kill hunters because they were against the Bronwyn tribe and killing their tribe members, to viewing the world the way Crow does, and seeing where the conflict started between Crow and Raven. I think that would have been very interesting if they had done that, and it could be in a way of showing that Raven and Crow could hold the key to each other's stories, their own past. I think that would have been very excellent for them to try to do. And maybe we could see Crow starting to change because he was a part of Team Stark, as to where Raven could be stubborn and trying to get her way, as Tai Yang even mentioned that her character was like. And we could see some examples through the backstory. I think that would have been great to explore the changes in these characters. And not only that, but when looking at Raven, considering that Raven does not agree with Ozpin or Salem, the motive I think they could have given, in which I talked about in a rewrite for Raven that I did, it was about a year ago, they could have given her the motive of wanting to restructure Remnant, make it more in her own image, and that by gaining the relics, she could probably have the power to be able to do so. That she could be one to try to achieve power to really better mankind in her own image. Of course, she would have the mentality of the strong live and the weak die, so she would only really benefit those that she sees as strong, as to where to her the weak would just be left to die and bite the dust. So I think that they could have really stuck to that mentality, and I think that would have been very interesting if they had further explored, because one of the biggest problems that I did have was the fact that they did lead on that she had this mentality, and I've talked about this, that they really kind of cut it short by saying that in the end she was actually just afraid, that she was a coward and she feared for her life because she didn't want to die in a war that she saw as senseless. Now, what I think could be interesting is she could see the war in the aspects of what Ozpin and Salem are fighting for. Now, that could be senseless to her, and instead she could be trying to get the relics and keep them away from them to achieve her own goal, but not only to do that, but to foil their plans and to set them back rather than forward a step. And over time, what they could have also done with Raven, because she would have her own side of the story when it comes to Ozpin and Salem, they could have gradually worked it up, and she could have been trying to warn her own daughter, Yang, of Ozpin and Salem both. I think that that would have been a great idea until eventually she told them the truth. She may have been the one to know of everything between the two of them, because, remember, the relic did have one question already answered, and who knows? Maybe Raven asked that question. We don't really know who asked the question, but it could have been Ozpin, it could have been anybody really at this point, but Raven could have been the one, and she may know the whole story, and she could have actually been the one instead to have told Team RWBY, as well as try to convince her daughter otherwise. I think that that would have been an interesting plot, and by leading her own revolution against Ozpin and Salem and trying to create her own world of what she views Remnant could be, maybe to try to make it in her own image, I think that that would have been a better plot, as well as her being the one to try to warn everybody of what Ozpin and Salem could be fighting for. I think that that would have been a much more interesting way to really use her character, as well as kind of deceive the audience, making them think that Raven is a selfish individual when she's just trying to maybe just help the world just in her own way. I think that would have been a really cool third option. But anyways, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Share so your friends if you found this informative or useful. And follow me on Discord. Link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.